Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setups for today. So yesterday we failed to get above the 42.10, 42.13 area as we were looking at yesterday, and basically continued to the downside, and we have touched the bottom of what I am assuming is the range. So bear in mind, as I said yesterday, this zone that we've got down here is fairly strong from a support perspective. But also just looking at the weekly picture here, you can see it does look like some form of a head and shoulders. Yeah, there's a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. But for all intents and purposes on the weekly, this is still up. And I was actually reading a very interesting article this morning. And every time we've corrected 14% at the moment. So where's it down here? So we've basically pulled back 14%. And every time we have had a pullback greater than 10%, well, not every time, about 70% of the time, we've continued that same year to sort of gain 17%. So there is a pretty interesting scenario brewing here. So this could just be an area of support. I know the bears are trying to break down, and the economy's falling apart, and recession, and interest rates and everything else, but ultimately, the markets are not designed to fall; they're designed to go up. So, reset is healthy, and I think that's kind of the way a lot of people are seeing this, as a reset. Now, a couple of things to point out. Firstly, on the 8-hour, look at the oscillators. That is clear diversions. You see, there's a low, a lower low, low, higher low. Clear diversions. We are below the 20. I'd want to see the crossover and start breaking above the 20 before getting too excited. And if you're looking at this on the Bollinger Bands, more than likely seeing a big step out the Bollinger here, and then a gentle step out the Bollinger, or just inside the Bollinger with this one here. But that is a Bollinger W. So on the 8-hour, we obviously need to break above the level I was looking at yesterday anyway. But let's just get to the lower time frames, and we'll start looking at what's going on. So nothing really to see on the 3-hour. We've got a strong area of support to the left, big zone that we're in at the moment. Diversion continues on the 3-hour. There's a low, higher low, and look how we're coming together. So the tech stocks were hammered yesterday. Google actually reported lower than expected earnings. And Microsoft was was on par, if I remember correctly. Let's just have a look quickly. But ultimately, I think the earnings has been going fairly well. So if we look at yesterday's results, Microsoft was better than expected. Google was slightly less than expected. Revenue was pretty much very close, but earnings per share was less than expected. Apart from that, everything else of the bigger ones was actually positive. So who knows? I think today is another big day. So we've got Facebook, we've got T-Mobile, Qualcomm. So there's a couple of big ones that are coming out today as well. Majority of them after the market. So I expect nothing really to change through the day. Okay, so let's have a look at what happened yesterday. Firstly, so we looked at this area here. There's the first one, and then there was another one pretty much up there. So we looked at that zone, and I said to you, if we're actually looking at the 15-minute, and we had either needed a break above there. Sorry, there's the next one there. So we either needed a break, and we needed to hold that as we were above the 155. Otherwise, we were coming to the downside. If you look at the 15 minutes, we broke below the moving averages. Then we came to test the moving average, and look, below the 155, stayed below the 155, then broke through the moving averages, retested the moving averages there, and then plummeted. So a couple of things here. If you look at it from a range perspective, I'm just going to adjust that to the low of yesterday. Broke through it, came back, tested it. There's your opportunity there for the short. 278 point stop loss. I'm not so sure you would have got everything. So most people would have got out here. It's 700 or 800 point gain. So if you were still holding on to that, you'd be sitting with a 900 point gain at the moment. So 900 points from 200 points, that's a reasonably good trade. Okay, so let's just get to the hour. That's what we want to pay attention to. We are coming up to test this previous swing low. Let's get a level here, which is here, and then I just want to put the other one in as well because that is fairly critical. So understand that this is the not yesterday's low, but the previous day's low. So this is what was yesterday? Tuesday, Monday's low. So 4203 or 4200 is obviously going to be a line in the sand now. Now we reject there. You can probably expect another leg lower. I don't think we have. I just want to double check. I don't think we've got. I suppose we could argue that that is an opportunity there. Now that looks about it. Okay, so come back to the hour and have a look what we need to look at. So first things first, we're not looking, as I said yesterday, when you saw the oscillators grip the upside in that sort of level, they're sort of ranging about, that was an indication below the moving averages. It did look like we're going to continue another leg down, and that's what's happened. So we've had one leg, so it's 1, consolidation 2, another leg down, so that's 3, consolidation 4, another leg down 5. So if you read up on Elliott's theory as well, you know, market moves in 5 waves, there's another 5-wave move to the downside. The question now is, do we range and then start building for another leg down? I don't really think so. I think we've got a lot of support here. Maybe one more push down to 4100. So if 42 doesn't hold, then I reckon 4100 will definitely come out. And maybe even as far as 4,000. So that's kind of, I think where the market's pushing for. Today is another 15-minute trading, 50-minute chart day. It does look like a bit of a flag forming, and we've got a sort of a big gap here as well. So pay attention to this area here. Now, if we start rejecting, same narrative of yesterday, you'll see going sideways. You'll want to see a pullback, a sort of a drop and a pullback to come test it and then fall. It's not really going to be as nice setup as what yesterday was in amongst the moving averages and then gently drop down. If it does drop, it's going to be a pretty big drop to come and close a gap. Maybe a little bit further. Pay attention, could go down to 4100, and then I expect us to start looking to build a base. I just want to close off on the daily. It's just important to put the daily perspective in as well. So look at the oscillators on the daily. I'm not quite there yet, but you can see when we grouped the upside like that with an inside bar on the daily, there was a move to the downside, and you could have basically held that for the bottom, hindsight being a perfect science, but we were above the moving averages, so probably not. But this one definitely came up to test the moving averages, big engulfing bar on the previous day, looking for shorts, and a nice big move to the downside. So at the moment, look to the left, lots of support here, lots and lots and lots of support here, all the way down to 4100, and even as far as 4,000. I think people are going to see value there. So pay attention to that. I think that is kind of the mood at the moment. I think this could very well be the bottom of the range that I'm looking for. But we'll want to see that on the higher time frames to make sure that that plays out. Anyway, enough for me this morning. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.